The story took place just 2 weeks ago. I've always been scared of basements since I was a kid. Now that I'm 18, that fear is mostly gone. But I still look over my shoulder if I hear a strange noise when I'm alone. It was a cold Friday night, and I was home alone. Our biggest TV is in the basement, so that's where I usually go to hang out and play video games. I was playing Fortnite with my friends, wearing my headphones, completely lost in the game. But then, even over the loud sound effects of the game, I heard something behind me. It sounded like a heavy thunk. I took off my headphones and looked around. Our basement is huge, but it's also incredibly messy and cluttered. To actually see what was back there, I would have to get up and walk through the mess. I didn't think it was necessary. It felt a bit unsettling, sure, but I tried to ignore it and kept playing. But I couldn't focus anymore. Part of my brain was constantly thinking about that noise. I finally took my headphones off completely just because I was feeling extra paranoid and wanted to hear my surroundings. Seconds later, there was a sudden clank sound. It had a sharp, metallic echo to it. I instantly turned off the gaming system. I was in total shock. This wasn't a random house noise. This was an intentional sound made by someone or something. I walked really slowly toward the back of the basement. When my eyes landed on the big metal air vent in the corner, it hit me. That was the source of the sound. I walked as close as I felt comfortable, stopped and just stared at the vent. Suddenly, a terrible, painful feeling hit my stomach. I felt the life drain out of my body. A human hand reached out from inside the air vent and started waving at me to come closer. Then, a deep, raspy voice whispered from the dark, "Come here. I need help." At first, I couldn't even run. I just slowly stepped backward, my mouth wide open, staring at the vent. Suddenly, the person's hand gripped the metal vent and started shaking it aggressively, trying to break it open. I screamed, "I'm calling the cops!" But the shaking didn't stop. I dialed 911 immediately and told the operator what was happening. She told me to run upstairs, find a room, lock the door, get a weapon, and hide. I was more terrified than I had ever been in my entire life, and it got so much worse. A moment later, I heard a door burst open downstairs, and a maniac started screaming at the top of his lungs. He was literally yelling, "Where are you? I'm gonna kill you!" I heard him running up the stairs. He was moving so fast, it sounded like he was taking 2 steps at a time. He reached the top in 3 seconds. My heart was in my throat when I saw the doorknob jiggle. Then he started pounding on the door so hard that the frame started to bend inward. He was going to break the door down. I realized I had to climb out the window right now or I was a goner. I think he heard me opening the window because the banging suddenly stopped. I jumped out of the window, landing straight into the bushes below. By some absolute miracle, a police car pulled up in front of my house at that exact moment. I ran straight into the officer's arms, begging them to go inside. They locked me in the back of the police car and went into the house with their guns drawn. Less than 5 minutes later, the 2 officers walked out, holding the man in handcuffs. They put him in the back seat, right next to me. Until the car drove away, that man gave me the most evil, hate-filled stare you could ever imagine. That stare still haunts me. The whole experience still haunts me. I still go down to the basement occasionally, but nowhere near as much. When my grandparents passed away, instead of my parents selling their house, they just let me live in it instead. Since I was of moving out age anyway, I just had to pay the taxes and monthly expenses. At first, I really enjoyed living alone, given that I could have whoever I wanted over, whenever I wanted. But it quickly got lonely being alone. So I got myself a 2-year-old German Shepherd dog named Rocky. He was named after Rocky Balboa. Rocky's a very calm and gentle German Shepherd. He hardly ever barks, only when he feels threatened or if he's playing with another dog. I bought him a doggy bed the day after I adopted him and put it next to my bed. After I got Rocky, I always left the bedroom door open so that he could go get water at night if he was thirsty. One night, soon after I adopted Rocky, I woke up to his barking coming from outside my room and down the hallway. I dizzily got out of bed to check what the hell he was barking at. I rubbed my eyes as I walked down the hallway, and when I opened them, I saw Rocky maniacally barking and clawing at the basement door. I didn't know what to do. Usually I'd call my dad to deal with something like this, but now it was on me, and I was terrified. I had to ask myself if I wanted Rocky to go down there with me, and I quickly realized there was no chance of me going down there alone. I opened the door ever so lightly, but it was enough for Rocky to push it open with his nose and run down the stairs. I flipped on the lights and followed close behind. Rocky was silent now, which I found a bit concerning. I looked around for him, calling his name, and then I saw him standing still with his tail between his legs, looking up at something in an opposite corner of the room that was blocked by a wall. Rocky looked at me, and his tail slightly raised as I approached him. I could now see what he was looking at. It was a closet door. Rocky's apparent bout of confidence was obviously short-lived, and he seemed to be back to his calm and timid self. All that was passing through my mind at that moment was, do I dare open this closet door right now? And who or what could be in there? I didn't know Rocky too well just yet, but I had a feeling he wouldn't attack whoever or whatever was in there. I'm still not sure whether I made the right move or not, but instead of opening that closet door, I took Rocky by the collar and walked with him back upstairs. He kept looking back at the corner of the basement until we got to the stairs. I shut the basement door and then dragged him back to my bedroom and shut the bedroom door. Then I went to the kitchen to call my dad. I had to call 3 times before he finally picked up. In a groggy voice, I explained the situation and asked him what I should do. He said I should go back down there with a huge knife or some kind of weapon and see what's in the closet. I told him I was too scared to. And somewhere deeper into that conversation with my dad, I realized the basement door was open. I put the phone down for a second to listen to what I felt were footsteps. And I was right. Loud and clear, there were footsteps heading towards the front door. I ran to my bedroom and told my dad. He told me to hang up the phone and call the cops, and so I did. By the time the cops showed up though, whoever was in the house was obviously gone already. Unfortunately, I left a large amount of cash down there by the bar. All of it was gone. The basement window was wide open, so we found the method of entry pretty quickly. It just turned out to be a break-in burglary when I happened to be home. The story I'm about to tell you is a series of blurry memories from when I was a little kid. We were living in our old house. My brother and I always hung out in the basement, where our dad has his hockey table, pool table, and video games. We usually played on a Super Nintendo system, but at some point, I don't remember when it started, my brother and I would hear things come from the boiler/laundry room. The first time this happened though, my brother and I were playing some racing game on Super Nintendo. That was when we both heard it. The door to the dryer slammed shut. We knew that's what the sound was. We both called out, "Mom," figuring maybe she'd been in there the whole time without us realizing. But the room was dark and empty of any people. When we realized this, we both ran upstairs screaming for our parents, leaving everything downstairs still on. Our parents came down to humor what they probably thought was just our dumb, childish antics, and nobody was in the laundry room. Moving along, probably a few months, I was awake late one night, for whatever reason. Walking to the kitchen, passing the basement door, I remember hearing the TV downstairs turn on. It was one of those big old box TVs, so it made that distinct clicking sound as it turned on. I called out my mom's, my dad's, and my brother's name. No one answered. I went to my parents' room to tell them, and they were both upset with me for waking them. My dad went downstairs to turn off the TV, and I remember him telling me, "It's a glitchy TV." There were a couple other suspicious happenings after that, but I'll move forward all the way to the last occurrence, and honestly, the most horrific. It was a few days before we were going to move to our new house. Just about everything in the house was already shipped to the new house. But our parents were nice and let us keep the TV and video games downstairs until the last few days. My brother and I were once again playing video games. That's when I felt something hit me in the back of the head. I thought it was my brother at first, but then saw the red ball bouncing on the ground behind the couch we were on. Then, the door to the boiler room slowly shut, as my brother and I looked at each other with horrified looks on our faces. Once again, We ran upstairs screaming. Our parents once again went downstairs, but when they came back up, they were strangely silent. They told us to go to our rooms and wait there. A while later, a police car showed up, but our parents wouldn't let us out of our rooms. They wouldn't tell us what happened until we finally moved. Apparently, my dad tried to open the boiler room door, but something was holding it shut, or perhaps pulling it shut. Even so long ago, I could sense fear in my dad's voice, explaining it. I don't believe in ghosts, but to this day, I still don't know what to make of what was going on in that basement.